Hey folks, this is Craig at Vertigo Theatre Productions in Manchester. I hope you are all doing really well and staying safe in these kind of scary times that we're living in at the moment. It's hard at the moment to be involved in theatre, to be a theatre, a writer, a director, an actor, on the crew. It's we know how much we all love doing this, especially those of us who work in the theatre industry. We know how much we love doing this, and at the moment we can't do it, and it's pretty painful at the moment. So what I thought we could do, maybe just to give people little bits of theatre to kind of watch and stuff, is release some clips from some of Vertigo's former shows. We've been around since 2007, so we have quite a lot of shows, and we tend not to release that much footage. We do some trailers and we'll release a bit of promo bits, but we tend not to release so much footage, so a lot of this footage hasn't been seen before. I think even some of the cast members haven't seen this before, which is terrible. So today I thought with the first one we'd start with a play that I did in 2015, and it was called Ascension. I did this play at the King's Arms in Salford. I'm sure many of you who are on the fringe scene who are listening to this in Manchester know it well. This was our third play there, I believe, and it was the first play that Vertigo did after we lost one of our original co-owners, which was Adele Stanhope, who she had to leave, unfortunately, and we kind of carried on the company together, me and Carl. So this was the first show without Adele. And I decided I wanted to do something a little darker. I wanted to delve in kind of the darker side of humanity, and it's not the first time I've done that. I've done it on a couple of other shows, but I think this one, this was a big gamble of whether it would work or not. The basic story is, it tells a story of two boys, Richard and Nathan, who live in New York. And they're a couple. They're in a submissive and dominant relationship. One of them enjoys giving out the abuse and violence, and the other one enjoys receiving. We kind of, as the play goes on, we get to realise that the dominant isn't satisfied with the limitations set for him by the law, on how far you could go with this kind of thing. We start to find out that basically he's a psychopath, or a psychopath in the making, and it explores the obsession of the submissive, who is willing to kind of turn a blind eye and even join him on his journey of kind of doing these horrible things, because he's so obsessed with him, he's so in love with him that he's absolutely terrified of being alone. The play was kind of inspired by the Leopold and Loeb story from, I think it was the 1920s, and they were basically two young men, I think late teenagers, early 20s, who were the first recorded people to do a thrill kill. There were basically no motive, there was no reason, justification, there was no reason for this killing to happen. Not that there's reason for any killing to happen, but this was the first thrill kill. The boys simply did it because they wanted to see if they could get away with it. They didn't. This play knows, the characters in the play know of the Leopold and Loeb story, they're fully aware of that story, but it's also kind of an updated version of that story where they believe, or one of them believes, that he can pull off what Leopold and Loeb didn't because he is better than other people. He is above the human race. He reads a lot of Nietzsche. In it's a very twisted play. It got some really good reviews I was really, really happy with, but I do remember some audience members, like, it was a bit too much for them, which was fine. I totally understood that. I mean, that's kind of, I think, what I set out to do, to push a few boundaries. But I was really proud of this play. Most of all, I was really proud of this cast. I had a stunning cast. In the lead roles, I had Richard Allen, who was playing Richard, who I've worked with on many shows before, and Ryan McMyler, who was playing Nathan. He'd just done one previous show with us, which was Last Dance, and he came in to play Nathan. He was extraordinary in this role, and both the boys worked really, really hard on a very, very difficult subject matter. And the rest of the cast, who were Stuart Reeves, Celine, Constantinides, Paul Worrall, Benjamin Corry, and Sean Roberts, they trusted the hell out of me because I had them doing some crazy things. But luckily I knew a lot of them, so they trusted me. They kind of knew how I worked. And what resulted from that was Ascension. So I thought today we'll show you a few clips, and I can talk about like the process on the shows and that kind of thing. But the first clip we're going to show is the opening monologue in the show, and this is delivered by the character of Nathan, played by Ryan McMyler. And I'm obsessed with a good monologue. I love a good monologue. They appear in a lot of my shows, and I was really proud of Ryan's performance on this. He pulled it off in a superb way. So yeah, this is the opening monologue of Ascension. Enjoy.
It happened again last night. An encounter, a moment, a passion-filled experience. Lust, if you would. I gave him exactly what he wanted, and he always seemed satisfied. I am everything to him, his master and commander. I beat him and he begs for more. I humiliate him and he oozes gratitude. I piss on him till I'm dry and he passes me water. Harnesses, belts, body worship, lit cigarettes, feet, breath control, torture. We all have fetishes. I'm no different. I knew from an early age that I had a burning desire to be in control, to dominate. It wasn't hard to find willing participants. With a stroke of a keyboard, I could have a guy at mine within 20 minutes. I didn't learn any of their names. I didn't have to. It wasn't important. However, he's different. But unfortunately for him, I know I'm different. It's now becoming increasingly clear that this thing I do, these things I do to him were never the end game. I'm suppressed when I'm with him. I'm bored. I'm bored with what they call life. I can no longer exist through the temporary solutions that all this money can buy. I've seen the sights and had the picture taken. What do I do now? You know, I sometimes become jealous of the people of the world, the ones who I describe as the its and apes. I see them enjoying their insignificant little lives and can't understand their desire to go on while I am standing on top of a mountain of wealth and success, and yet still, I'm unfulfilled. Ordinary offends me. I see no point in it. I guess their existence offends me. How can somebody be satisfied with aiming for the middle? It shows lack of intelligence. It shows that they have absolutely nothing to offer the world. I've recently rediscovered Nietzsche, and he says it best. To predict the behavior of ordinary people in advance, you only have to assume that they will always try to escape a disagreeable situation with the smallest possible expenditure of intelligence. Ordinary disgusts me. I think the beast at the door and the world I despise are due to connect in a way I fear I will have no control over. I guess I was born this way. But for what reason?
So we rehearsed this show for 3 months. We tend to just rehearse on Sundays, which gives the rest of the whole cast the chance for Monday to Saturday to not only be out working other jobs and making more money, but they can also have more time with the script so they can delve into it much more. So we rehearsed this for 3 months, and we went through many rewrites on the show. One scene that was never rewritten was this next scene coming up. I'm pretty sure every other scene in the show at some point got rewritten in this. I mean, I know after we did our first public performance, we changed the ending for the next night, so we were rewriting. I was rewriting right up to the end. But this scene, I used to just love watching this in rehearsals. It's such great performances from these two actors, Ryan and Richard. Their performances are absolutely superb in this, and I've not watched this for a long time. It's just when I've been watching back again for doing this that I've seen that, my God, they gave some brilliant performances. So please, please enjoy this scene, and this is where Nathan's character finally reveals to Richard's character that he likes to kill people. Basically, enjoy.
What do you mean, sir? Beating on that homeless guy, that wasn't the end game.
I don't understand.
I didn't tell you everything.
You can tell me anything, sir.
Okay. You asked for it, but I pray that you're ready for this, because I'd hate to have to get rid of you now. The beating is just one part of it, but I'm not meant to stop there. You see, I used to think that something was wrong with me, you know? I couldn't attach to another person ever. Even as a kid, I felt that I had nothing in common with them, you know, that I didn't belong. But now I've started to realize the reason I'm different. I'm a Superman, Richard. Just like in Nietzsche's book. His theory, these feelings I have are not human because I'm above that. I don't look at people like they're my equals, I look at them like they're my playthings. You know, a bit like how a human would look at an animal.
Still not following, sir.
A Superman is someone who justifies the existence of the human race. He stands above them. He creates his own law, his own way of life. God doesn't exist. Okay, he's dead. So the world is to be owned by men like me who can live as we please outside of the law. A dissatisfaction with life makes people turn to a false god, but not the Superman. He takes that dissatisfaction and turns it into satisfaction in any way that works for him. And mine's to destroy. You see, a Superman can't get satisfaction from the simple things that the everyday man can. I can't just fuck, I have to fuck hard. I can't just fight, I have to destroy. You know, money, cars, sex, oh, it's all too simple. I crave more. Because a Superman's wants are always going to be more extreme. My extreme is to kill.
You want to kill people?
Yes, well, yeah. I need to kill people. You see, using you, guys like you, I've always tried to suppress what was in me, but it's no longer enough, you know? People should be able to live. I mean, really live. And I see people just existing and it makes me feel sick. I always used to wonder why the whores, the homeless, the drug addicts were allowed to be, but now I realize they were put here for men like me to get our satisfaction from, so I can feel something and live, because at the moment I feel numb. I feel like I'm living a lie. Nathan, but murder? It's not murder! It's controlling the population to keep this world a place that it should be. The stains on society were clearly put here for men like me. What other reason do they have for existing? If you believe that everybody was born for a reason, then you have to ask yourself, would they be put here to make this place worse?
No, I'm not hearing this, Nathan.
Did you ever hear of Leopold and Worrall?
What? No.
They were two boys back in 1924 who thought that they were like me. They were Supermen. They killed a kid. It was the first recorded case of a thrill kill. They did it because they thought they could, that it was their right, you know, it was motiveless. But they were wrong. They were never meant to be Supermen, they were never meant to ascend, to be powerful, they were just psychotic. You and I, though, that's different.
You and I, no. Nathan, I've never wanted to kill.
Oh, that's a lie. Your diary from 7 years ago.
How did you get that?
I hate them, especially my parents. If I had one wish right now, it was to see them all dead. Even better by my hands. The ultimate revenge of this. I was young. It's the ramblings of an angry teenager. No! This still lives inside you. All the ones who hurt you. Look, maybe you're the lobe to my Leopold. But unlike them, we are a perfect storm, and it was always meant to be.
Nathan, I couldn't.
Yes, you could. You're letting fear rule you. I know inside you would love to do this with me. Or at least watch. Come on, Richard. You don't want to lose me, do you?
No, of course not. I never want that to happen. I just... It's murder.
Are you judging me?
No.
Why? You're judging me. You don't understand me. You don't understand me at all.
Oh, sir, please. I want to.
Sir, where are you going? I'm going to live!
Okay, so this next scene is, this was the opening of Act 2. And after I'd written the opening monologue that you saw earlier, my actor, Rich, I remember this really well, actually. He really liked that opening monologue. He was dead jealous he didn't get to do it, and Ryan got to do it. and he was like, you better write me a good opening monologue for Act 2. So this was my opening monologue for his character in Act 2. The story, when as it unfolded, the first half of the show, it had a lot of flashbacks to Nathan, who's Ryan's character, growing up and how he became what he became. And then in Act 2, the show does the flashbacks for Richard's character, which we see how he became what he became. So that's why both of them had an opening at the top of each act. So this is Richard's opening monologue, and again, I do apologise to my cast for having him stand there in underwear.
Sometimes you're trapped down the rabbit hole, and you're locking up. You know above is a place that is ordinary, a place without complication and drama, and you know that in the rabbit hole lies the unknown, but what do? I don't know what to do. I feel detached from the outside world, yet completely embedded into this world I now know, and to him, the man who the mere thought of living without terrifies me. It's been 2 weeks since I took my first step towards becoming a Superman, as Nathan says. Nothing else has happened. Killing that dog was heartbreaking at the time. I've never felt such guilt, but I can't lie, I've also never felt such power. What made it all the better was seeing how happy it made Nathan, I guess that's all I needed. I've never truly thought about hurting anybody. In fact, most of my sexual desires came from somebody hurting me, but the thought of standing side by side with Nathan and demonstrating such strength and watching him destroy is something that excites me. I fear that makes me a terrible person. Nathan tells me it shouldn't, that it's us against them, that we're simply living to live. Nathan still uses and dominates me, and that makes me the happiest man in the world, but something shifted. We talk, we connect, we kiss, and we feel like a couple, something that never happened before. Now I truly get it all. Why should I feel that? I mean, he has a point. This world has failed me. It chewed me up and it spat me out. Well, maybe it's my time to be the one who stands above them. I mean, Nathan thinks I could be just as powerful as him. I've never had power over anything in my life. Just pain and misery. Until I met Nathan. You know, the ones he wants to destroy are the wasters of society. The ones dealing drugs to children, the whores destroying families, and maybe he's right, and the reason he... No. We were put there were to take them all out whilst fulfilling his needs. I don't know. The rabbit hole scares me. It's a mix of excitement and darkness, but it's a discovery. It gives me a chance to find an identity, something I've always been searching for. I won't be alone anymore. I won't be abandoned. I'll be with him. Always.
Okay, so this next scene is it's pretty much after the opening of Act 2, actually. This is Celine Constantinides, who plays multiple roles in the show. Her biggest role in the show is a therapist who appears in the show. I think we've got a clip of her playing the therapist later, actually. But in this flashback scene, she also has to double up as Richard's character's mother. So Richard in this scene is actually portraying, I think he's like 8 years old, something like that. And Celine's playing someone who's in her late 20s. So we play with ages a lot. The actors have to portray that through their performances. And I think Celine and Rich and Stu, who's also great in this scene, who plays the father, they pulled this off really, really well. This broke my heart a little bit, especially what Celine's character says to Richard's character at the end. But in this scene, it's a flashback to when Richard's character was very young, and we find out how his parents felt about him and what happened with his father.
What's the next thing? You just decided this isn't what you wanted anymore. You wanted to be alone.
It's suffocating, and you wanted that, not me. I told you, if we ever had a kid, you'd have to raise it. I can't be tied down. I want a life.
It doesn't work that way, okay? You have a responsibility. Now be a man and take care of your son.
Shut up!
Daddy, don't hurt Mommy! Ow!
He's a sissy. A wimp. A nobody. Trust you to give birth to a piece of shit like that. Now get out of my way. I'm leaving, and I don't want you to bother even looking at me.
Okay, baby, don't go. What about the money, huh? I earned that staying with you.
It's always been about the fucking money for you, ain't it? Once a whore, always a fucking whore. Now don't worry, you'll get your share of my wealth. I ain't that cruel. I hope it devours you both.
Daddy!
See what you did? You made him leave. Why couldn't you be the son he wanted, Richard? You have ruined everything. Everything! You know, I worked so hard to give us the life we have today, and you ruined it!
I'm sorry, Mommy, I didn't want to make Daddy leave!
Oh, you did! I should have killed you before you were born.
Okay, so before I introduce this next scene, a quick comment I should probably make. You probably noticed at some points in the show that the cast has sat on the other actors as furniture, and that appears in this scene as well. This was a weird conversation to have with my cast on the first day of rehearsals when I said, okay, so, you know, we talked through the characters and stuff, and then I said also, you're going to be playing furniture, which was, I think, a first for all of them. The idea behind that was that the way Nathan thinks is that he uses people, that people are objects to him, that he's kind of the king of the castle, nobody else means anything to him. So we objectified humans as he kind of does in this play, so that's why they play the furniture in this play. So I just thought I'd get that out of the way, because I thought that's a bit weird if you don't understand what the hell's going on. So this scene is in Act 2, and Richard's character's been seeing a therapist throughout the show, and she's been trying to guide him on his relationship with Nathan. She's seen that their relationship is becoming quite dangerous. At the request of Nathan, he stops seeing the therapist, but the therapist doesn't give up. So she turns up at the house one night. In fact, it's the night there's going to be a horrible event happen in the play. She turns up at the apartment to make sure he's okay, and she's confronted by Nathan. It's the first time she meets Nathan. I love this scene. I love the acting in this scene. I think Celine, Ryan and Rich knock it out of the park. I was really, really proud of this cast. It's one of the things I love doing when I get to work with some really, really, really good actors, and we've been very lucky with these. But yeah, this was I think the only scene that Celine and Ryan had together as those characters. We did, funny story, have on our opening night, she came back to the apartment near the end of the show, and that character was killed out of the show. And when we put it in front of an audience for the first time, that ending went down like a lead balloon. So we changed it for the next night, and it worked much better. So this is their only scene together. Enjoy.
It's fucking early. Go and make yourself look presentable. Go! Okay.
Can I help you?
Yes, I'm looking for Richard.
What do you want with him?
He's a patient of mine. I'm just checking in on him.
Who's therapist? Yeah, come on in. I thought you said he didn't want to see you anymore.
Yes, it's just a follow-up visit to check he's still doing okay.
Don't normally hear a therapist doing out calls.
Is he here?
Yeah, he's upstairs changing. Please have a seat. You know, you're much more attractive than I thought you would be. You often have this image of what a person will look like, and I somehow imagined you to be older, more, forgive me for saying, uninteresting looking.
And why is that?
I guess people in your line of work just strike me as being terrifyingly ordinary. I mean, how much time can you have for your own life when you spend your days listening to other people's problems? You, though? Well, you seem different.
I don't think we should ever judge someone purely on the way they look.
I think that's the therapist talking. The way a person looks is hugely important. If I had known you were so attractive, maybe I would have invited you around here myself.
Can you call him down, please?
I told you, he's changing. He'll be down soon. So what is it that you want to check up on him for? Because I can tell you right now, he's doing great. He has never been happier. In fact, tonight, we're entertaining a friend. An evening we are very much looking forward to.
I would rather discuss this with him.
I take it you know who I am.
Yes. Nathan. You are exactly what I thought you'd be.
Oh, really? Do enlighten me.
Well, I knew you'd be good looking. You'd have to be for Richard to be so obsessed with you.
Obsessed? That's a dangerous word.
I agree. You seem to like control, Nathan. Maybe even intimidation. See that the moment you answered the door.
Well, I can see why they pay you the big bucks.
You know what I can't figure out? Is why it's so important for you to control him. I know it was you that made him stop seeing me. Does it scare you that he had someone else to talk to? Maybe he'd say something he shouldn't? Maybe it's that there's something so wrong in your life that if you can get him to think the way you do, he won't feel so different, so alone. Am I right? I can see right through you. Don't hurt him. Don't fill his head with ideas. He listens. He's vulnerable. He's easily manipulated. He always has been.
Richard! Look who's come to visit. She wanted to make sure that you're still happy. Why don't you tell her that you are?
I think he can speak for himself.
Didn't need to come here.
No, I think I did, Richard. Look, are you okay? Are you happy?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you show the papers, Richard? You see, we just made a huge commitment to each other. He now has access to everything I own. He's never been happier. He cried when I told him.
Oh, is this true?
Yes. Honestly, any doubts, fears, or anxieties I had about anything in my life is gone. I've got everything I want.
Can you give us a minute, please?
No.
I wish you would come and see me again.
Oh, why? So you can tell him that his life needs fixing, that his past should be erased so that he can move forward. His past is a part of him. His wants and desires are a part of him. Now, why would you want to change someone so wonderful? Unless you don't think he is wonderful.
He's right. I'm fine the way I am. This is where I'm supposed to be and who I'm supposed to be with. Look, thank you for coming, but honestly, I'm okay. Now look, we're really late. We're just on our way out. So
I thought you were entertaining a guest here tonight. That's what Nathan said.
Yes. Yes, but we've got to pop out first. Please, you've really got to go.
Okay. Look, Richard, you've got my number. If you need me, call me. If I don't hear from you, I hope you're happy and living for you, not anyone else.
I am.
Thanks for dropping by. You can leave now.
Okay, so this next scene is it's part of a bigger scene, actually. I think we called this scene Rain. So in this scene, we see Nathan. He's just been on the street with another character in the middle of the rain, having this conversation, and out of nowhere, he starts to see his father, who's dead. Everything kind of stops, all the people around them stop, the rain stops, and he has this weird conversation with his father. And we've kind of seen throughout the rest of the show, through Nathan's flashbacks with his father, that his dad was a huge, powerful man who he looked down on people as well, but kind of Nathan has taken that to a whole new extreme with wanting to hurt people. But this is kind of a bit of a confrontation scene between those two, and I picked this one because, again, I really like the performances, but I think Stuart, who's been with us since, I think, the second show we ever did, I really like his performance in this scene. So this is that scene. Enjoy.
Nathan.
Father, you're dead. You're not real.
You're losing it, Nathan. You know what you're doing is wrong. Everything you say is a lie. You're not special. You're a killer. You're insane.
No, I'm not.
Really? Then why are you talking to me?
Because I've had a few drinks. I'm tired, stressed. Who the fuck knows why?
I'm here because you want me here. Part of you knows what you've done and what you're about to do is wrong.
You never did know me.
The easiest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike to those who think differently. Friedrich Nietzsche.
Why are you saying that?
Because you need him. You need him to think as you do, and you know why? Because you're lonely, just as I said you would be. You need him. You need another you. You couldn't find one, so you created one. Because if there are two of you, it means you're not insane and you can sleep at night. But what about him, Nathan? Can he?
You are so wrong.
No, I'm exactly right. You went for so many years without killing. Why? Because you know it's wrong. We forget our guilt when we confess to another, but the other rarely forgets it. I believe you know the quote. So tell me, Nathan, what happens to him? What happens to the one that you fooled into thinking all this is right?
I am right. You want a Nietzsche quote? Try this. What does your conscience say? Be the person you're supposed to be. Now go away. Go away. Go away, Father. You're not real. I know you're not real, Father. Now just go away. Leave me alone.
Hey, mister, you okay?
So, okay, the next scene is it's not long after the one you've just watched actually, and just after this scene, this is on the evening of where the two boys are going to perform a horrendous act on another person, and this is the conversation that they have just before it, where we find out a little bit more about Ryan's character, Nathan, about his character's backstory. I picked this one again because I love the performances in this. I found Ryan really captivated in this to watch, actually, especially when it's such dark material that he's talking about. But yeah, I picked this scene again because the acting I think is superb. And another fun fact I just thought of as well is that quite late on into rehearsals, like near to us opening, I still didn't know how the show was going to end. I had about 4 different endings in mind, and I hadn't given it the cast. The cast were as clueless as I were at that point as to how the hell this was going to end. And there were really different ways that we were gonna take this ending, or the ending that comes later. And this scene used to link in to the end scene, but luckily it's still, or what was going to be one of the end scenes, but luckily it still works in the play. But yeah, this is a really, really nice scene between these characters. So enjoy.
Oh, this must have been how Leopold and Lowe felt right before that kill.
Yeah, but sir, they got caught.
I told you. They thought they were Superman. They were foolishly mistaken.
But sir, how do you know that you're... And they obviously thought the same, and look what happened.
Because they never had the craving like me. It was just something that they decided to do. This lives in me and it lives in you. From the moment we were born, we knew we weren't meant to exist as everybody else does. I told you, Richard. This is our time, it wasn't theirs.
Don't do this, Nathan. You have done so well for so long. This will change everything.
Fuck you, leave me alone!
Nathan, you okay?
I'm fine. You know, I have a lot of similarities to Leopold. Our fathers were both wealthy, we both spoke our first words at the age of 4 months old.
A lot.
We both are blessed with extraordinarily high IQs that meant we graduated early, and our love of nature, of course.
Am I like Lowe?
He was submissive, if to be believed. Leopold was the one in control. Loeb was intelligent, like you. His home life was far more satisfying than yours, however, but I think that's what gives you the edge. You know the pain, you know the horror of society, you see how you don't belong. Did I ever tell you what their first names were?
No, sir, you didn't.
Nathan and Richard.
No way.
Yes, it's perfect. It's like we were meant to do this, but we are never going to get caught whatever we do because we really are untouchable.
I want to believe that we are so badly.
Well, I didn't get caught for the 2 murders I committed before.
Wait, you've killed before. You never told me that.
It's been 8 years. I was made to feel so bad for so long about who I was. And that's why I tried real hard to make it disappear, but it's not going anywhere.
So somebody else knew, about what you are, what you did.
Yeah, my father, he knew. He knew everything. He could see it in me. He said I was sick, that I needed help, but he was wrong. For years he turned a blind eye. He even helped me cover up my indiscretions.
Why would he do that?
Because it would be bad for business having a killer in the family. Especially a family like mine. Really though, I think he just hated that his son was more powerful than him. He prided himself on the power he had over others. He didn't care about anybody, not even my mother. I heard her call him a sociopath the night she blew her brains out. And he was. Oddly though, I used to admire that about him.
So what changed?
Some people just disappoint me. You see, I'd only killed animals, beaten on people, rough sex, but then this one time, when I was 18, I saw this boy and I suddenly got this overwhelming feeling that I had to end him. It's like he was there for me, it's like it was a sign. And anyway, I killed him. And it was the first time I truly realized my power and I actually felt something.
Did you feel guilty?
No, I don't think I did.
I know you what, Nathan. You felt guilt.
My father would always talk about the weak. He hated weakness, people that didn't serve his agenda.
And what was that?
To be under him and to know it. To fall in line or get out of the way. He told me time and time again that this world was to be owned by the people who had the power and intelligence to take it. That it's not about what's right and what's wrong, it's about you and you alone. That you take what you want and you don't apologize. That one night, the night I killed that boy, he looked at me like I was ill. Like I was somehow doing wrong and we were so different. He wanted to lock me away. Me! And it was at that moment I remembered everything he told me about not letting others get in the way of your destiny. So I killed him. I threw his body in the ground and I moved on. The police never suspected me, of course, because like him, I am also untouchable. I got his fortunes and company, I sold off the business, and I got on with my life.
I don't know what to say.
There is nothing to say. I didn't cry for him. I knew he'd be proud of me. I did what he taught. I got him out of my way.
You can deny it all you want, Nathan, but you cried. You know what you are. You're a killer. Don't drag this boy into it.
Okie dokie. I did think about putting in one of the more graphic scenes in this, but I thought, no. I won't do that to you. So this is actually the final kind of monologue in the show. Someone and I were talking earlier about I didn't know how it was going to end. This is kind of how we ended the show. It was a tough ending, this one, and I think it was a controversial ending because we let evil win. We let evil carry on rather than normally at the end of a play kind of that's following the trajectory of this one, which is very much like a thriller. You always expect the good guys to win and the bad guys to lose, but I wanted to show that things aren't perfect and there are people out there who think differently to what we do, who have their beliefs that we don't agree with, and it can be a dangerous combination if you start taking your obsessions or your desires or your hatred or your ambivalence to other people. You start taking that too far, and that's kind of what this final monologue represents, that there's always dark in the world, and it is still out there. I didn't want to give this a happy ending, yeah, so we settled on this, and again, I think the two performers, Ryan and Rich, do a great job on this. I'm just trying to think of a few other fun facts I can tell you. I tell you what, watch this clip and come back to me.
It's a fine line. Sex and violence, fear and laughter. Sane and insane. But they're your labels, not ours. It's not that we hate the human race. That much of it we quite enjoy. We just can't relate to you. You're simple creatures whose state of evolution halted. You couldn't go any further, but we could. We are what the world could really be. You have created a place where your laws and moral compasses dictate how you live your sad and routine lives. A place where you must hide your innermost desires and feelings, because if you showed them, you'd be labeled, and you can't have that. A place where you must keep up with the Joneses, where your gardens must look their best and your cars must outdo the neighbours. A place where your job and income is held up as some kind of marker as to how important you are. But behind all that, behind that facade lays the truth. The truth that lives inside most of us. You hate us. Not because you're jealous of the way we get to live, but because we get to live the things that we really feel. Leopold and Loeb had it all figured out, but they had one problem. They were not supermen, they were not special, they were not important, they were not anything. They were you. Bundy, Dahmer, Son of Sam. Simple creatures who had a bloodthirst. Ours is more than that. Ours is a calling, a way of life, a quiet act that nobody knows happens. You see us and we may look like you, but on the inside we are anything but.
One day we will rule over all human nature. We will be the God that you look up to, that will get this earth running the way it's supposed to. We will disassemble your churches and smash your laws and we'll start over. But until that day comes, and it will come, we will live as we need to live.
And you'll never see us coming.
Okay, well that was the show clips that we have from Ascension. I think what you're watching now is probably some other show clips and maybe some rehearsal pics on there. Thank you so much for watching this. It was kind of fun to look back on this. I'm not one to look back that much, so this was kind of fun. Just thinking of a few things I could tell you, a few little tidbits. Ryan, who played Nathan, didn't really know much about a submissive and dominant lifestyle, so Ryan had to do some heavy research for this show, delve into places he'd not delved into before. The same with Rich as well. Everybody had to kind of explore these things that they'd never been anywhere near before. It was quite a crazy rehearsal process going through that, explaining certain things to people. There were a lot of questions about things I'd written in the script that they didn't know what that meant. But that was fun. I remember that before we opened, I had this idea that I wanted the show to, as the audience were coming in, I wanted to show all of our characters other than the two, but in these white masks, what they wear all through the show, and performing acts of submission and domination on each other. And we spoke about this all through the rehearsals, that we were going to do this, and it wasn't until about 2 hours before we opened the doors to the first audience that we realised that we hadn't done it. So we picked the songs we wanted for incoming, and then I basically said to the cast, show me your movement, show me what you've got. We worked on some particular movements so we could make it a bit more stylized and that, but it was really, really quickly put together. I'm not going to lie, it was quite funny to watch. And yeah, it was a good rehearsal process, Ascension. I really did enjoy it. It was a tough subject matter, but I think whenever we have tough subject matters that we deal with at Vertigo, we always manage to keep the rehearsals quite light. I think that's probably the best way to do it. We had fun on this one. Ryan and Rich definitely put the work in. I mean, I was super proud of them. They got some great reviews, and I was so happy for them because they worked really hard on this. It weren't a case that they just showed up to the standard rehearsals. They were rehearsing constantly out of the scheduled rehearsals with me to get this absolutely perfect. And I think they did a really superb job. And I think that's it. Oh, Carl, my co-owner and my partner, he did the kind of tech work in the show as he does on every show. And in this, we filmed some pretty bizarre videos, what would appear during transitions. He did a really good job with them. They looked great, but I remember one of the critics saying they compared his work to David Lynch, and he was super happy with that because me and him are huge Twin Peaks fans, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's it. I think it was definitely an interesting run. I learned a lot on this one. I learned a lot of what I can do and what I shouldn't do. But yeah, it was an interesting one. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. We're going to do some other ones as well. Well, we're going to do all of the shows we've got, I think. So you'll get to see clips from all of our shows, and I hope that can fill in those cravings for a bit whilst we can't get back into the theatre. But we will soon. We will all be back in the theatre soon. We've just got to hang on a little bit longer and make sure that people are healthy and safe. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening, or watching, should I say, and I hope you enjoyed that. I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.